In 2019, I went in for what was supposed to be a simple shoulder surgery, a routine rotator cuff repair on my left shoulder. What followed was a year that completely changed my body, my career, and how I understand healing. The first surgery, in April of 2019, resulted in a serious post-operative infection. The second surgery, in September of that year, a revision that was meant to help, severed my suprascapular nerve, powering your infraspinatus and supraspinatus in your shoulder. And in March of 2020, I underwent a nerve transfer. The spinal accessory nerve, the nerve that powers the trapezius, was rerouted to the suprascapular notch in an attempt to restore my shoulder function. But it didn't work. I lost all functional activation in my supraspinatus, infraspinatus, and trapezius. My shoulder collapsed. I couldn't lift my arm. I couldn't sit or stand without severe nerve pain. And every expert I saw told me exactly the same thing. You should prepare for permanent limitation. Learn to live with your disability. Get on disability. But that wasn't the end of my story. Because during that year, when I could no longer practice yoga the way that I had for decades, when I couldn't teach, travel, or move freely, I began studying my body in an entirely different way. I stopped asking, how do I fix this? And I started asking, how do I retrain my brain-body connection? What emerged from that question is the foundation of everything that I teach today. Those months taught me something that many of you already know. The medical system is designed around protocols. And if your body doesn't respond predictably, you can fall through the cracks. I saw specialists across Florida, Maryland, Colorado, California, the Carolinas, New York, New Jersey, and Texas. Every doctor had a very different theory, but none had a roadmap. For months, I said something is wrong with my nerve, and I was told, it'll wake up. Give it time. But it never woke up. Here's what was actually happening inside of my body. When a peripheral nerve is damaged or severed, the muscle it innervates loses its direct communication with your brain. The signal pathway is disrupted. But your brain doesn't stop trying. Modern neuroscience shows us that the brain continuously searches for patterns, for pathways, and for solutions. When an old pathway is lost, the nervous system can begin to recruit new strategies if the conditions are right. This is neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity isn't positive thinking. It's the brain's capacity to reorganize itself in response to experience, repetition, and sensory input. But here's the part that most people miss. Neuroplasticity is state dependent. If your nervous system is flooded with fear, with pain, or with threat signals, learning shuts down. But if the system feels safe enough, learning becomes possible. I didn't regain nerve function, but I did retrain my brain and my body to move together again. That distinction changed everything for me. Yoga taught me 3 lessons that rewired how I understand healing. Lesson 1. Safety comes before strength. In the early months, any attempt I made to work harder made my symptoms worse. Pain increased, muscle tone spiked, my breath shortened. But when I slowed down, when I softened my breath and reduced my effort, my body responded. I could find a millimeter of motion. That's safety signaling. The nervous system will not release protective tension until it perceives safety. Strength without safety is merely just force. Lesson 2. Awareness rebuilds lost maps. After my surgeries, I couldn't feel my left side of my upper back at all. This is something called sensory motor disconnection. When the brain's internal map of the body becomes unclear or incomplete. So I started with visualization. Breathing into the area. Imagining scapular movement. visualizing external rotation even when nothing visibly moved. Over time, proprioception, or the sense of where your body is in space, began to return. Yoga didn't give me strength first, it gave me clarity. Lesson 3. Small signals still teach the brain. Even when no visible movement occurred, intention mattered. A 1-degree lift, a subtle scapular glide, a conscious exhale. Each repetition told my nervous system, this movement is safe. Consistency built reliability. Reliability built trust. And trust changed my body. Through this process, I relearned my anatomy from the inside out. How my rhomboids stepped in when my trapezius was gone. How the deltoid adapted. How breath altered muscle tone and coordination. Yoga became less about postures and more about communication. That's where the body mechanics method was born. Not from theory, but from necessity. I want to pause here and explain why the approach that I used worked. Because on the surface, it can look almost too subtle to matter. Most people believe recovery happens through effort. Bigger movements, more repetitions, more strength. But the nervous system doesn't learn through force. It learns through clarity, safety, and repetition. There are 3 core mechanisms at play here: breath regulation, sensory mapping, and micro-movements. Breath is not just oxygen exchange. It's one of the primary ways the brain assesses safety. Slow, controlled nasal breathing, especially with a longer exhale, influences the autonomic nervous system by increasing parasympathetic activity. That's the branch responsible for rest, repair, and learning. When the nervous system is in a state of threat, motor learning shuts down, pain sensitivity increases, and your muscle tone spikes. So breath isn't a warm-up. It's a permission slip for the brain to learn something new. Sensory mapping and interoception. When an area of the body has been injured, immobilized, or disconnected from its nerve supply, the brain's internal map of the area can degrade. In neuroscience, this is sometimes referred to as cortical smudging. Your brain literally loses resolution. Practices like visualization, touch, and focused awareness help to restore that sensory clarity. This process is called interoceptive and proprioceptive retraining. Before your muscle can coordinate well, your brain needs a clear sense of where that body part is and what it's doing. That's why awareness comes before strength. Micro-movement as a learning signal. Here's the part that most people miss. The nervous system doesn't care about how big a movement is. It cares about whether a movement is safe and repeatable. Tiny, low-load movements, even imagined ones, activate motor planning regions of the brain. Repeated consistently, they build new coordinated pathways. This is how our brain learns after injury, stroke, or nerve damage. Not by pushing harder, but by teaching reliability. So when I worked with 1-degree movements, subtle scapular shifts, or even imagined motion paired with breath, I wasn't doing less. I was doing what the nervous system actually understands. Breath sets the state. Awareness restores your map. And micro-movements build trust. That sequence is what allows the body to reorganize, even when your old pathways are gone. With the right therapy, the right pacing, and the right nervous system environment, my body adapted. I don't have a functioning suprascapular nerve, but I do have a body that moves with confidence, coordination, and joy. And that didn't happen through surgery. It happened through presence. If you've ever been told, this is as good as it gets, I want you to know that your nervous system is still listening to you. Healing begins when you start communicating with your body again, with awareness, with breath, and with patience. I'm currently developing a 6-week online program called Reclaim Your Body, where I'll guide you step by step through the exact process, combining breathwork, body mechanics, nervous system retraining, journaling, mindful movement, and much more. It's being created slowly and intentionally, and I'll be sharing more as it gets closer to completion. If you'd like to be the first to know when it's ready, you can join my mailing list using the link below. That's where I'll be sharing early access, free tools, and updates as the course unfolds. And if you'd like to continue with me now, stick around because my video coming up next is on how your breath changes your pain perception. If you want to check that video out, all you have to do is click on it because it's coming up next.